everyone, hope you're well. Welcome back to my channel. So I have a very big confession. I was about to upload Lacan's 7-month baby update and then realised it was an 8-month one and we didn't have a 7-month one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through, I have his 7-month update on my blog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through that and put in lots of clips of him because I do have lots of video clips, but I swear I did this video but I've just forgotten, or I've deleted it, or I've done something very silly. So yeah, Lacan's 7-month update. So in general at 7 months it was our last sort of month together before I went back to work, so my last month on maternity leave, and we really tried to make the most of our time. It was really hard because at that time Rob was away a lot. It was before his accident and we had a lot of ups and downs with the silent reflux, so it was a very tough month, but it was a month I tried to cherish as much as I could because I knew I'd never get it back, and once I was back at work everything would change. He had some settling in sessions at nursery which went really well. We had a home visit and he like flirted with the ladies, and he's actually got one of Isla's key people from when she was in the baby bit of her nursery who I love, so there's just been, it's been so easy and such an easy transition. He went in one day, it was only meant to be for an hour or two, and he ended up staying a bit longer because he was having so much fun, and then the same thing the next day, and then he was settled, and then that was that really. In terms of his weight, he was about 8.5 kilos at that point, so he was still tracking nicely on his sort of 55th percentile for weight. I think still very tall, still on like the 98th for height. Size-wise, he was then comfortably into the 6 and 9 month bracket of clothes, so it was a case of getting that wardrobe out, making sure everything, because I'm really bad. I will take different sizes and put them at the back of the wardrobe and think I'm going to bring them all out when he hits that age, and then I forget, and then I find all this stuff I love that's far too small. So we got all of that out and he's fitting into all of that, and yeah, the weather's a bit sort of up and down. It's very hot, so a lot of the time he's just wearing vests, which are quite boring, but it's the only thing that will keep him cool. So routine wise, because it's obviously not our recent routine, I'm going to have to read it out, I'm afraid. So it was sort of 6:30 to 7, we'd get up and I would feed him, like myself, because we were still exclusively breastfeeding at that point. Around 8 o'clock he would have breakfast. He was really enjoying his porridges and Weetabix and things like that, with obviously coconut milk or almond milk because of his dairy allergy. Then we'd have a play and we'd have lots of fun. We'd get all the toys out if we were staying in, and if Isla was around as well, if she wasn't at nursery, she'd get well involved. She loved seeing all her old toys come back out and get played with by Lachlan. And then around 10 o'clock he'd have another feed from me and we'd try and get him down for a nap. He was starting to get a lot better at this stage of going down for a nap actually, especially in the morning. He was usually tired by this stage, so we were usually getting a nap out of him. And then around 12 o'clock it was lunchtime, so he'd have usually a puree, so we were using a lot of Ella's Kitchen, Piccolo, babies. What else? That's about it really. Yeah, that was about it. Those sort of pouches for the sort of first foods, because at 7 months he was still very much, we were keeping it quite strict on what he was having just in case anything aggravated his reflux, and then we wouldn't be able to pinpoint what it was. So it was a lot of plain purees. I'd made up a lot of things. I pureed a lot of sort of just really plain meals that we'd had. He was really enjoying pasta as a finger food and bits of vegetables. Really loves his finger foods, so that's great to see. And then we'd have more playtime. Usually actually we'd go out. If we'd stayed in the morning, it'd be morning out or afternoon out, one or the other. So if we'd had the morning in, we'd go out, we'd go meet friends, or we'd go to the beach or the park or wherever, just to get out the house. And then around 2 o'clock he'd have another feed and another nap, which doesn't usually happen. Sometimes that happened, especially since his silent reflux medicine changed, so that was great. And then after his nap or attempted nap, we'd have playtime, but more quiet time. It'd be sort of if Rob was around when he got back from work, we'd either maybe go for a family walk, or if we were inside, be in the garden, because like I said, the weather's been better. Just lots of sort of more, not so much really toy focused playtime, but just sort of being together playtime, if you know what I mean. Then around 5:15 was dinner time. Again, it would just be a case of a puree at this point and a few snacks, and then sometimes if Isla was having something very plain, like plain pasta or something like that, then we'd try him with that, but we did stick more to sort of pureed things at this point. And then between 6:15 and 6:30 was bath time, and then another big feed, and then bedtime at 7, just like Isla. He was getting up around sort of 1 or 2 a.m. for a feed as well at this point. Sleep wise, at 7 months we hit a massive sleep regression. It got to the point where getting him to go to bed and go to sleep sometimes took over an hour, and it was just a full-blown battle, like screaming and crying from him and me, not the screaming, just crying. And yeah, it was just awful, like really awful, and it went on for, I think it was a good 2 or 3 weeks before he kind of settled back into accepting he had to go to bed. I think this was the first month that we actually started leaving him to cry a bit more because of his silent reflux and things like that. It was very hard to leave him to cry because it didn't work. He would just scream and scream and scream for hours if you let him. but because he was on a new medicine and he was settling better at nap time, we were starting to think, maybe this is becoming a little bit more behavioural rather than just linked to silent reflux. So we were leaving him a bit longer, only like 5 or 10 minutes, then going in and putting our hand on him or stroking his head or putting him back in like a sleeping position if he rolled or whatever. So yeah, that sort of sleep was a bit tough that month. Feeding wise, he was still exclusively breastfeeding from me about 5 times a day, but for shorter periods of time now, so not a half hour or 45-minute stint every time. It was coming down to more like 20 minutes. We were trying to think of a time at this stage to start him on his dairy-free formula to get him ready for going to nursery full time, because I wasn't able to express as much. So basically what we decided to do was I would feed him through the night and sort of at bedtime and in the morning, but he would have 2 bottles of formula at nursery, dairy free. And he's all right with bottles because I exclusively expressed for a month, so he had bottles in the beginning. So he's always been fine with bottles, and if I've been away for the night or away, and he'll take express milk fine out of them. We just need to get him used to the formula. In terms of food, like I mentioned, he's doing really well. He's really enjoying his food. I think the initial sort of weaning stage at 6 months put him back a bit with his reflux, but now we're into a much more comfortable stage and he's enjoying food, which is lovely to see. The sort of snacks he loves bananas, cut up strawberries, crackers, bits of like baguette bread. There's carrot and strawberry puffs. Apparently at nursery he really likes raspberries, but I haven't given him raspberries at home yet. And chopped up egg, really enjoys egg, like a boiled egg. Milestones wise, he's finally sitting up. It took so long. Like I feel like Isla was sitting from about 4 months, I'm probably exaggerating. But with Lachlan, I think it was more because of his reflux. Like I wasn't fussed about him sitting up developmentally wise. I just wanted him to be more comfortable. And I just felt like as soon as he sat up, that would help him so much more. So he finally did it. He started making a lot more noises. So his favourite one, he goes da 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 da, but proper shouts it at you. So that's quite funny to see. He's got 4 more teeth coming in. So he already did his bottom 2 and now all 4 of these are coming in. So yeah, that was fun. And at that stage he'd kind of made a connection between things he liked and the fact he was doing them. If you know, that sounds really weird to say, but he'd do something, realised he found it funny or liked it, and he'd do it again and again. And that's the first time I've noticed him. Or if you did something funny, he'd be waiting for you to do it again. That's the first time I've noticed him sort of make that connection. Things he likes, so he's still obsessed with Isla, which is really nice to see. They get on so well, which is lovely. Rolling, he rolls everywhere. I don't think we'll be crawling anytime soon. He just rolls and rolls and rolls and rolls out of doors, and yeah, just really enjoys himself. Weetabix is the big food, so that's something he loves. And swimming, and I'm going to be really sad because I need to figure out how I'm going to get him to swimming when I go back to work, because he goes during the week just now, and where he goes they only do during the week, which I can't do. And then at the weekends he can go to on the same day as Isla, which is fine when Rob's here, but when Rob's not here I'm like, what do I do with Isla? Because she goes in independently, so that's fine. I can have Lachlan with me because she just goes in and I just have to change her, but I'd have to go in with Lachlan, so I'm like, what would I do with my 3-year-old child? Like I can't trust her to sit at the side, so yeah, I need to figure that out. And things he didn't like at 7 months. So he didn't like sleeping, as I mentioned. Bad sleep this month. Still being left on his own. Absolutely hates it. Won't even entertain himself for 2 seconds. This is a funny one. People breaking eye contact with him. So we were on a flight up to Scotland and there were people behind us and they were like, oh, cute, cute, cute. And then they started looking away from him and he was like, and got really, really sad when they wouldn't look at him. And I've noticed he does that a lot. Like if we're out and about, he'll catch eyes with someone and be like, ah, and then as soon as they look away, he's like, ah. And still his car seat, he's not a big fan of that, but getting a little bit better. So thank you so much for watching this. Sorry I messed up and my kind of OCD tendencies were like, you need to do this video, it needs to be in order. So my 8-month one isn't even up and he's 9 months, so sorry about that. But yeah, that's his 7 months and I will post the 8-month one very soon because I have that all ready to go. But thanks so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. Don't forget to subscribe and we'll see you soon. Bye.